The perfect girlfriend does exist. Exactly. If I'm putting in 5,000, I'm going to be on the title. I hate to say it, but this isn't wholesome at all. The implication is that what makes you the perfect partner, and of course it's the woman, is gifting large amounts of money instead of talking about things. Exactly. People are saying this is stupid and not to do it without making sure you also have your name on it. But this is a gift. I hope, she's aware she's not ever getting this back. If you plan on giving your partner a gift this big, expensive but also expect it back if they break up with you, cheat on you, etc., just don't do it. There is however the possibility that he's expected to pay back the money, but that's a different story entirely. If she's true to you, and you to her, you don't need to get her a rubber ring saying "I promise I'll marry you someday." This is where so many people get confused. She loves you and you love her. Just keep going as long as you can. You can make it official later. Just keep making money together. My wife and I got each other promise rings while we were saving for our permanent rings to indicate off the market to dudes who kept trying to get a foot in the door because no ring, but that might be a more F couple application. Hey all engagements ring savers, be smart, go to a pawn shop and get twice the bang for your buck. Diamonds are already a billion years old. Who the fuck cares if it was on someone else's finger for a blip of time on the cosmic calendar? If the Big Bang is January 1st of the cosmic calendar, all written history of man is in the last 10 seconds of the last minute of December 31st of the cosmic calendar. Per Sagan. Buy a used diamond and fuck the jewelry store markup. The De Beers monopoly is pulling the wool over your eyes. Gentlemen and ladies, a great place online for vintage jewelry is called Ruby Lane. FYI. $2,000 is the max I'm spending on a diamond nowadays though. You can get insanely high quality being lab made online and then just get it set separately, and also you aren't paying for something that has the possibility of being a blood diamond with an awful path into the first world. Took my wife ring shopping with me. I had no idea what I was doing. She ended up making choices that I never would have made. She preferred simpler styles and wanted a colored center gem instead of a diamond. That alone saved like $1,500. Kinda kills the surprise, but it was a fun date and I know she has a ring she loves. I spent about half of what I had saved for it, and it really took out most of the pressure of the proposal. Highly recommend. In my first engagement I bought my own ring. Then I bought the wedding rings. He didn't purchase an item. When I left him I took my rings with me and left him with his. He had the cheek to ask me for my rings because he told his family he had purchased my rings. I copied and sent my bank statement highlighting I had bought all the rings. That's how we did it. As long as we talk to each other and are both on the same page, it's way more comfortable. We both knew what was going to happen, so we decided to have fun and go on that vacation to make it official. The night was super romantic and we both knew it was happening. To be honest, it made it more fun and stress-free for both of us. I picked out my own ring too. Aside from being way less stress on my husband, I knew I was going to be picky about the ring I wear every day for the rest of my life, so why not make it exactly how I want? It's funny because whenever I tell this story people say things like, "Oh, that sounds so much easier, I wish that was the norm." So make it the norm. Pretty much all the traditions or expectations about marriage are optional. Do what you want to do and leave the rest. That goes for planning the wedding too. We eloped and I would do that 10 times again over the stress of a big wedding. Meanwhile my best friend had an enormous wedding of 200 plus, black tie affair, and it was perfect for them. Welcome to jewelry. It is all overpriced and is a giant scam. But if you don't spend a lot of money you obviously don't care about your spouse. So dumb. It would be cheaper to take basic blacksmithing classes, buy all the tools you need, buy pure gold and a cubic zirconia diamond, and create your own ring. After all that you would probably still spend $1,000 less on a basic wedding ring. me and my partner are going to get engaged within the next month or so. My max is $500 TBH. Target $200. I find the worth of the ring utterly unimportant. My mom's response when I said we were looking for a non-real diamond ring was, "Is your marriage going to be real?" We bought a diamond for me, but then my husband's grandmother basically yelled at him, "Why'd you buy a diamond? I have your mother's." So he returned it and I have his mother's engagement ring. He did buy me a nice pair of diamond earrings later, but those are the only diamonds he's gotten me. If he dies before me, though, I'm going to turn him into a nice diamond. He wouldn't get me a diamond now, which is fine. I'm in agreement with him, and I don't wear much jewelry. I have 11 cheap earrings in, and my wedding band is silicone by this point. He doesn't wear wedding band anymore. Friendly advice: don't go into debt for a wedding. Spending ridiculous amounts of money for what is essentially a one-night party has a good chance of adding tons of stress on a new marriage and could poison your relationship. My wife and I managed to do everything for less than $5,000, rented a community hall for the party, had a $1 drink bar, and some of our friends still say it was the most fun wedding they ever went to. Meanwhile, the same friends suffered financially for almost 15 years. They didn't get a divorce, but things were tense for a while. My only kid is a knee kit, not a super nice one, but not bad. Roland TD1DMK was living in an apartment, so I couldn't get an acoustic. Just recently got a house, so I'm looking into maybe getting an acoustic, or maybe just a nice arena kit. I don't know. Would you have any recommendations? Edit: you're probably better than me lol. Keep at it, man. My issue is I have a hard time keeping motivated to practice. Gotcha. The Command X is actually one I was looking into a bit. My particular model Roland isn't terribly expensive, pretty comparable to the Command X. A few weeks ago I started playing bass and so far I really enjoy it. I'm thinking of taking a break from the drums to try and dedicate more time to the bass. A few friends have been pushing for me to get Twitter, but it seems like such a bunch of nonsense. I already hear a bunch of political nonsense passively online. Why would I willingly sign up where all threads I see screenshots seem like a shit show? If it's just because I don't have an account and can only see the posts and not the whole thread, but whenever I scroll through someone's open Twitter feed, it's just a bunch of stuff about them I generally don't care about, unless you're doing it to celeb, politician chase side. What the point is, and actually, someone feel free to sell me on opening up a Twitter account. I only keep FBBC. I have friends abroad and shit at keeping in touch with them, and now with the quarantine it's just full of hot takes on politics and COVID. Depending on your interests, Twitter can actually be super fun and positive. I follow mostly a bunch of video game /streamer personalities, League of Legends folks, and D&D accounts, so for me Twitter is just an extension of my Reddit homepage, full of content I enjoy. It's all about who you follow. If you follow a bunch of news accounts, politicians, commentators, etc., then that is all your timeline will be. I thought Twitter was just politics, but it can be a lot more. I think if you want a good experience you need to remember never to check the replies to anything vaguely political. I use that rule and Twitter is great. Plus if you have favorite creators, especially those who are on top of popularity right now, their Twitters are often great. I love Colin and Samir and their Twitter is amazing. And the fact that there isn't a ton of bots like on YouTube me as you actually feel connected. Wouldn't put myself on blast, but I figured to say it anyway so people can be more aware of how dangerous your actions and words can be. To sum it up though, I caused my own downfall. Didn't think before I speak or act. I gained clarity only after losing the one whom I loved, yet whom I also betrayed. I was selfish and only was living for myself. It's the classic case of you don't know what you have until it's gone. Heartbroken, full of resentment for life and at myself. I have always wanted to be great and be better. I'm nowhere near where I want to be at or who I want to be, but I am sick and disgusted at the person who I used to be and the way of living before. It's time for a change, and that time is now. We don't know their relationship but ... Yeek. I was in a long-term relationship with someone whose parents wanted them to buy a house. I felt kinda slighted because I thought we were on a marriage path and I was paying half the mortgage, but we didn't buy the house together. I ended up leaving him maybe a year later, and I'm actually grateful we were talked out of that. It's best not to get too financially tied up unless you're married, and even then it can result in a headache. If you do decide to do this, consider it a gift with no strings attached. I didn't want to be a complete downer, but this goes to the kind of boundaries that are healthy to establish early in a good relationship with anyone. If this was a platonic relationship, I would be equally put off. In actual contracts, consideration, this person exchanges A thing in exchange for that person's B thing, is required. I can hear the sentiment that I intended in others' comments as well. Sounds like wife, husband material. If that is the case, and they are, as I would describe my wife, truly amazing, then in the words of Captain Picard, make it so. Thanks for reading this and thinking about what makes you smile. As I see it, and maybe it's not the healthiest way of looking at it, getting married is just paperwork, a good time with family and friends on the wedding day, and a social media post with more attention than usual. If the couple's all about their social appearance, you know well before marriage that you'll be together for avertment. It shouldn't be a shock, though being the chosen one and actually having it happen before you would be pretty exciting anyway. If a girlfriend did that for me, I might seriously propose right then and there. That level of unconditional love is rarely seen outside of parents for children and really long-term couples who know each other like the back of their hand. I don't think I'd ever accept my girlfriend giving me $5,000. Hell, I'd be hard-pressed to let my wife do that unless it was for something that would be ours. It's just a little much, and a recipe for hurt feelings and entitlement depending on the people. I mean, unless you're so is the kind of fuck you rich that $5,000 is meaningless. When I started driving, I was given a '92 Accord. The same one my sister and brother were given when they started. It had 290,000 at the time. When I was done with it, it was at around $350K. We've since given it to my cousin, who's had it for years. It's got to be close to $400K at this point. It still runs like a dream, missing modern features like Bluetooth, sure, but it has AC. Most of the power windows still work. Don't spend a large amount of money on a boyfriend or girlfriend. You have time for that if you get married and your finances are tied together. Save it for a house in the future. That's better than a car and will make him appreciate your forward thinking. Don't wanna be mean, but from a personal finance perspective, if it takes you 6 to 12 months to save up just a down payment for a new car, then you should probably stick with the perfectly fine Mazda for a bit. A year of saving for only a fraction of a car means you can't afford the car. LOL, the bar is underground. I would never do this unless I was married to the person and we had a 10+ year relationship or more. Maybe not even then. Don't buy expensive items or give away that much of your own hard-earned money for anyone that isn't 1000% committed to you and has shown that over time. Definitely don't do this for a boyfriend, girlfriend, nah, sis. $5,000, it's a lot of money to give to just a boyfriend. That's money she better be okay with never getting back in the event that he never lets her drive that car, they break up, or she doesn't have her name on it. Couldn't be me. This is not behavior I would encourage for someone who's just a girlfriend, but YMMV. I mean, regardless of gender, it's not a smart idea. Do you have any idea how many people post on the relationship sub to the tune of "I'll own my BF $1,500+ to help with rent, and they haven't paid me back yet, and though this relationship has really gotten sour etc. and that's for a bona fide need, she's gonna be feeling pretty foolish if she gives it to him and they break up a few months later." True story, dude. I was 35 when I met her. I'd had girls come and go, a few that came close, real close. When I met my wife and got to know her, there was no question in my mind. Our personalities just complement each other so well. She really is my best buddy. not just a friend, and I hope I'm hers. When you've been around you know when you find it, and it is a truly beautiful thing that I can't put into words. I know a lot of words, but capillary attraction does not even remotely belong in this convo. She makes me be the best me, and I hope I love that woman. Whoa, man. In my opinion, this isn't being the perfect girlfriend. This is being an amazingly supportive partner when one is able. This is going above and beyond, and this partner had the means to be so supportive. The long and short of it is, she's the kind of partner who empowers her significant other when she can. And we love that in a partner. Be that partner. Give your person a hug. Give them the last slice of pizza. Give them a back rub. Give them a matching down payment on a car. Whatever you can do as a partner. Love is love. We live in a society, cue Joker memes, where men are expected to pay for stuff for their girlfriends and wives. So having a woman actually choose to do this by herself, saying fuck you to gender norms and just being a wonderful partner, is just beautiful. I'm sure that's rhetorical, but here you go. 91% of occupational injuries are on men, off to get an income to feed said children. Men must register with the draft upon turning 18, with things like FAFSA denying them if they don't. Even if men don't want to go into the trades, they'll need FAFSA, and ergo be susceptible to the draft, to go to college. They're less likely to get in than women, who have a 5% lead there. They're less likely to graduate than women, who have a 8% lead there, and yet, 92% of sex-specific scholarships are still for women, to say nothing about the proliferation of women's centers. Dory, the trades, leads to higher injury. Door B, college, leads to the draft, lower success rates and lack of institutional support. Could they just opt out? Not really. Being a stay-at-home dad is a statistical anomaly, and those that do pursue it, find themselves in a spot where they're socially outcast as useless, unable to easily access resources otherwise available for mothers, and generally struggle as a result. Men have massive pressures to provide for their families in ways that are incredibly taxing on their bodies. Yes, they don't have to give birth, but the 18 years after that is a non-negligible amount of time, and saying one side has it distinctly worse is laughable. I sure hope she doesn't mean brand new when she says new car, because I don't think there's a new car in the country you can get for $10K, and if that's a down payment for a loan for a new car, that would be even worse, basically throwing away all that savings on interest. Frown. Meanwhile, I went to the bank to deposit some money and I thought the teller miscounted as the value was not what I had counted earlier. I was frustrated at the teller, as I was sure. I then started tracking what money I left in my wallet overnight, and mystery solved. My wife has been just stealing money whenever she wanted cash. She has her own job, trust gone. She made it out to be my fault. Something like this happened to me. I was saving for years to buy a high-end acoustic guitar. My girlfriend, now wife, secretly saved along with me. This was back when we were both starting out in our careers and money was really tight. A few weeks before I was planning to finally buy it, she casually walked onto the apartment carrying a guitar case and presented it to me. She opened it up and I burst into tears. Every time I open that case and breathe in the amazing smell of that gorgeous wood, I'm brought back to that moment. She bought the exact model I was dreaming of, and the guys at the guitar shop were so touched by what she was doing they called around and found a total standout unit that is truly special. I recently had a luthier do a setup on it and he said it was one of the most beautiful instruments he'd worked on in his 40-year career. It is, without a doubt, my most prized possession and the greatest gift I have ever and will ever receive. Reminds me of my situation. I was struggling while poor to stay on top of bills while working the grind and simultaneously looking for side gigs that turned into something. When the GF finally felt the buy-in, she helped me pay off 60% of my student loans, 5-figure amount. She definitely made the right call to invest in my ambitions though, since we are worth 7 figures now and have been together for a decade.